Remains from the downed Malaysian Airlines flight are taken to a military complex in Hilversum. Forensic specialists are working to establish the identities of the dead passengers. And here, Dutch people continue to lay down flowers. The entire nation is up in arms over what's seen as the shockingly slow and disorderly investigation.
You can't take the rings off the victims' fingers and steal their bank cards. This reminds me of 1940 to 45. The dead bodies piled up in trucks, images we'll never forget.
The sanctions against Russia should be much more severe. There should be sanctions against Putin. What Putin is now doing is unjustifiable. It's just murder.
The growing anger in the Netherlands has found an outlet in social media, especially on Twitter. That's prompted a well-known journalist and blogger, Hans Laru, to analyze the reactions of his fellow Dutch citizens. Many tweets call for an immediate military intervention.
Your neighbors could have been on the plane, your nephew, grandparents and their grandchildren, so everybody was touched by it and in a way hit by it. So this brought out anger, and Twitter is an easy way to do it. You just pick up your phone or your laptop or whatever and you start tweeting, that's all. You don't always need to think first before you send out a tweet.
Tweets included calls for Vladimir Putin's daughter, who's been living in the Netherlands with her Dutch boyfriend, to be deported. The mayor of Hilversum even demanded that in a radio broadcast, but later apologized. Maria Putin, who reportedly owns this penthouse, left a day after the plane came down, according to neighbors. Tweets about protests in front of the house proved to be empty threats, as people realized the young woman could hardly be responsible for the disaster. But the mood in the country is that someone should be made accountable. That's important to the families of the victims, says an organization that's helping many of them. 193 Dutch citizens killed in a single belligerent act. It's a unique situation for the Netherlands.
It makes a lot of difference to the relatives who will be finally held responsible for what has happened. They are, of course, very much interested in this. They want to know this as soon as possible. And difficult for them is that it will take time, maybe a lot of time, until it becomes totally clear who is responsible.
The individual tragedies have dominated media reports. One of the victims was Joep Lange, a distinguished AIDS researcher and treatment pioneer. His colleagues at Amsterdam University expressed their sorrow and dismay.
There he had a big impact on me personally. It was an extraordinary person. We were really, as they say, I think, standing on his shoulders. Suddenly these shoulders are not there anymore, so it's a big loss.
Lange and a number of other passengers were on their way to a major AIDS conference in Melbourne. Their death has been a huge blow for scientists and HIV activists around the world. Each day has brought more details to light, and that has increased the pressure on the Dutch government to show more backbone and demand tougher EU sanctions against Russia.
There's another task for the government also, that to explain to the people very clearly that that is something that will have to be shared at the national level, and that everybody may suffer a little bit for that reason.
Above all, people in the Netherlands want an investigation. And they want clarity as to who shot down the plane.
They should be extremely punished. There is no other solution. We won't get the people back anyway. In this case, we need to catch the people who are responsible so that they will never do it again.
The Netherlands has 17 million inhabitants, and although not everyone was personally acquainted with one of the victims, the feeling is that everyone in the country has been touched by the tragedy.
We're here for the people who died and for their relatives. But we're also here a little bit for ourselves, to prepare ourselves. Because we're flying the same route.
The masses of flowers at Amsterdam's airport were supposed to be cleared away. Now officials have decided to create a permanent memorial as the public expressions of sorrow and anger continue unabated.